on this Wednesday. Eileen Parr with the Open Door Network joins us now in studio to talk more about the importance of noticing signs of domestic violence, how to prevent, and how to help. Eileen, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start off by reminding everybody the signs of domestic violence they should be on the lookout for.
Signs of domestic violence, if you're talking about how to identify that in friends or family, pay attention to the family member who tends to isolate themselves. Pay attention to the family member who looks timid or kind of hesitant to give responses when their partner's around. You see the nerves start coming up. Or maybe it's that family member that you haven't seen in years and they start to make their way back to you, and you kind of had the idea that maybe it stemmed from the relationship. Don't ever hesitate to ask that family member if they're okay.
And this is all in relation with that shocking incident that happened last Wednesday after a deadly shooting in Northwest Bakersfield, an apparent case of domestic violence when 37-year-old Manuel Robles allegedly shot his wife in front of their children. He is being currently held on no bail. Neighbors say the signs of domestic violence between the couple actually goes further back. So what can neighbors or bystanders do to protect victims of domestic abuse?
So first and foremost, don't ever engage yourself in an altercation of domestic violence. If you see domestic violence is occurring and it escalates, what I highly encourage the community to do is don't ever hesitate to call 911 for safety. That is their job, to de-escalate. But on another note, if you have a relationship with your neighbor, or maybe even if you don't, use that as an opportunity to engage. And again, the most important thing that you can do is just let them know of the services and that there are people in the community like the Open Door Network that provide that for free.
And spotting domestic violence may be easy with family members, but with people who are not necessarily in our family, neighbors, coworkers, etc., how easy is it to spot domestic violence with those victims?
Honestly, I would say it could be a little challenging recognizing that within family because you're not around family every day. And versus neighbors, yeah, they may be your neighbor next door, but because you live in the same area, there might be signs where you see arguments occurring outside, maybe some inconsistency, partner not returning home, maybe they never come out and communicate with everybody. And so those there alone are just signs.
Now, neighbors say the signs of violence between Manuel Robles and his wife actually goes further back. My question is, why are victims so hesitant to report domestic violence so often?
There's various reasons why victims are hesitant. One of them is we talk about this cycle a lot when it comes to domestic violence. It's a cycle, and in that cycle, when the explosion occurs in the abuse, it goes back to this phase called honeymoon. And in the honeymoon phase, there's a lot of apologies, forgiveness, I promise I won't do this again. So in some cases, it may be hope. In some cases, it may be fear. It may, a lot of people stay for their families. Or maybe sometimes we hear this a lot from victims, is that they don't feel like enough is being done as far as the criminal justice system.
And for victims of domestic violence or people who know of victims of domestic violence, give me some options that are available to them in Kern County.
So in Kern County, we have a lot of great partners in this community that have their foot in the work. You have community-based organizations like the Open Door Network who provide free and confidential services to victims fleeing or attempting to flee, meaning that they don't have to be fully ready to leave yet to receive our services. And they also don't need a police report. You have the district attorney's office who has appointed victim advocates that will guide you through that criminal justice system if a police report has been made. You also have Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance. A lot of people, I was just talking to someone in the back and they were sharing that the line at the courthouse is long for domestic violence restraining orders. And it just brought to my attention, I wonder how many people don't know about the free services that Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance provides, which is free restraining orders to those who are eligible and meet the criteria. And so they don't have to go through that whole paperwork if that's what's holding them back from receiving a restraining order and seeking safety.
Eileen Parr with the Open Door Network talking about the signs people should be on the lookout for for domestic violence. By the way, if you are a victim of domestic violence or know someone who is, help is available. Always call 911 if it's an emergency. You can also call the Open Door Network at its 24-hour crisis hotline at 327-1091 or the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. Eileen, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, stick with us. The final half hour of Sunrise is on deck. We'll be right back.